Graphs are incredibly important because they allow us to visualise the relationship between two quantities. As you go through A-level physics, there are going to be many shapes that you come across again and again and again. And in this video, I just want to summarise some of the common things that you're going to be really familiar with in a couple of years' time. So the first series of graphs here are the linear ones, where y is equal to mx plus c. Where, for example, you might have a spring that's being extended, and if you apply a bigger force and we look at the change in length, you might get a graph like this that goes through the origin, and that means the force is directly proportional to the extension. Of course, you can also have a graph where there's something on the intercept. For example, if you looked at the overall length of that spring and how that changes with the force. And then we also get graphs which have a negative gradient. The common one that comes up quite a lot is when you look at the internal resistance of a cell. And here, if we were to plot a graph of the potential difference against the current, we would find that the y-intercept is equal to the EMF and the gradient is equal to minus the value of the internal resistance. So that's just our standard y equals mx plus c graphs. Next up, we have three curves that all look fairly similar. Now this first one here could be in the form of y is equal to 1 over x. And that looks very similar to this one, which might be y is equal to 1 over x squared. So as x gets bigger and bigger and bigger, y gets smaller. Now the key thing here is that neither of these actually meet the axis. And both of these could be used when we're looking at things like fields. So if we're looking at the gravitational field strength or the electric field strength, there's often a 1 over r or 1 over r squared relationship. This one here, though, is actually different. And here, when the value on the x-axis is 0, there's a certain value on the y-axis. And this one here is y is equal to e to the minus x. So this is something that you will have seen before at GCSE. It's an exponential decay. For example, this might be looking at the activity of a radioactive sample, but also we can use this when we start to look at things like capacitors in A-level physics. So this is of the format y equals e to the minus x, and that's the kind of thing that you get onto at the end of year 12 or the start of year 13. And moving on from that, we might have this graph here where y is equal to minus 1 over x. So an example of that could be, for example, a gravitational potential with the distance away from that object. We also have this one here, which occasionally comes up. Now this is not an exponential increase. In actual fact, this could be of the format y is equal to 1 minus e to the minus x. Okay, and this could be if we're looking at a capacitor charging. If we were to look at the charge stored or the potential difference across it, we'd get a graph like this. And that's related to the equation that says Q is equal to Q naught times 1 minus e to the minus t over RC. If you've never seen that before, don't be scared. That will be introduced at the right time in the course. So these things here are other shapes of graphs that you're going to see as we go through A-level physics. Now the shape of these will be familiar, especially if you've been looking at waves at GCSE, but what we have is y is equal to sine x and y is equal to cos x. The main difference between the two is what happens at 0. For sine, we've got something where we have 0, 0. For cos, that's equal to 1 when that's equal to 0. And both of these have the same shape, which we call sinusoidal. This is really useful when it comes to looking at waves, when it comes to looking at simple harmonic motion. So many aspects of physics end up with a graph like this. And for example, you might get a graph like this if we're looking at the displacement of something undergoing simple harmonic motion, where the displacement x is equal to a cos omega t. But again, we'll learn that as we go through the course. And related to that are these two things. So we've got one here where we could say that y is equal to sine x, but we only have the positive values of it. So I'm going to put the modulus symbol at each side. For example, if we're going to convert from an AC to a DC power supply. And this one here, very similar to what we saw on the last page, this one here is y is equal to minus cos x. And that's very useful when it comes to looking at simple harmonic motion and the relationship between displacement in time, velocity in time, and acceleration in time. But sometimes we have graphs that don't fit a lovely mathematical formula. This is maybe based on real-world data. So the first one is something where if we were to look at the amplitude of something which was oscillating at certain frequencies, we'd find a certain frequency where the amplitude gets absolutely massive. And this is due to something called resonance. The second shape is to do with black body radiation, where if we were to look at the wavelength of that radiation that's been emitted and the intensity of it, we'd find a shape like this. And that black body radiation curve basically tells us that hotter things give out not only more radiation, but they give it out at a lower wavelength and therefore a higher frequency. That's why things glow white hot. And then this one here, the shape of this will be familiar to you very soon, where if we're looking at the force and the distance away from something, we've got something where we've got a negative force until it gets really close and then it's positive. And a negative force actually means something is attractive. So this could be the graph that shows the size of that strong nuclear force. It's only got a small range, and when it gets too close it also gets repulsive, but at small ranges we can have this attractive force that holds things together in the nucleus. And of course these shapes, as well as many more, will become really familiar to you because they all have a deeper meaning that helps explain the relationship between quantities and actually what's going on with the underlying physics. By the way, this is just one of many videos I've made covering all of the maths that you need to understand for A-level physics. It's part of a mini course which includes many more topic videos, multiple worked examples, and also a guide that you can download. You can find all of this over at alevelphysicsonline.com.